And we're going to try and set a new record for 2016 today. We started 3 minutes late, so let's see what happens. We'll call a meeting of the Willits City Council to order for August 10th. We all rise and join Mr. Stransky in the pledge.
Rise, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Once a school teacher, always a school teacher. Guilty.
That's part of the spiel.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Yes, Councilmember Stransky?
Yes.
Strong?
Yes.
Madrigal?
Here?
Ornstein?
Here.
Mayor Burton?
Here. Do we have any public communications? These are items that are not on the agenda and no action will be taken. Second, third, and last call.
Great chairs.
Thank you. Yes. We do have some new chairs. A welcome addition. Seeing none, we'll move to public matters. Seeing nothing there, the consent calendar.
I'll move we approve the consent calendar.
I second that.
Any public discussion on the consent calendar? This will be ratifying our last year's budget. Is that meant to be 14, 15?
Yes.
It should be
It
15,
is.
yeah. 15, 16.
15.
16,
17.
17. 16, 17.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's 2 years
That
behind.
correction is noted in my motion.
The 14-15 was a good budget, wasn't it?
Let's do that one again.
Let's get us 15.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Stransky?
Yes.
Strong?
Yes.
Madrigal?
Yes.
Ornstein?
Yes.
Mayor Burton?
Yes. No, excuse me. I'm going to vote no because I'm not supporting that budget.
I was going to say.
You almost snuck one by me.
You're in too much of a hurry.
I was. I'm on a mission. So, right to appeal. Persons who are dissatisfied with the decision of the city council may have a right to review that decision by a court. The city's adopted 1094.6 of the Code of Civil Procedure, which generally limits to 90 days when the decision of city boards and agencies may be judicially challenged. City manager reports.
Yes. Well, let's start with our water supply. Our reservoirs are 80% full.
Oh, good.
Very
That
good.
seems good.
Our septic, well, our truck fill station is up and running.
Good.
And our staff have been getting the word out to the various contractors, not just in Willits, but other areas as well,
So where exactly is it located?
down by the Parkwell.
No, so that's off of Commercial Street. You have to go in to get to
You
it.
go into the rodeo grounds, unless you can also hit it. But there's
You
that
can go
ditch
in
there.
by the-
I think there's a ditch on the other side. I think you have to go on the rodeo
Is there some
grounds.
information that the contractors would have to know about how to get to it?
They've received that,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
The septic receiving station is also up and running.
Oh, I'm gonna go see that.
Our crews are working, they're doing the in-house work on the installation of the new blowers. And so that's coming along nicely, and we're saving quite a bit of money by doing in-house, like the electrical, for example. It was already mentioned before the meeting got underway that our contractors on the water line on North Main Street hit an unmarked abandoned gas line this afternoon and a live electrical line, so the power was out at the mini market gas station right there. The ETA restoration that we heard at the time was midnight, and PG&E had responded and they were out there flagging traffic, but that could account for some of the traffic issues this afternoon. And then I just wanted to mention, we still continue to get feedback on the trees at City Park. And Bill Wilson, our Public Works Supervisor, met with Dave Watts the other day. Dave is such a great resource, and he put some time into gathering his thoughts and giving some recommendations to us. As a result, we are slowing down our process, and Bill did an outreach to the city of Ukiah to talk with them about their tree program, because this is something that every city deals with, and to see if they have an arborist that we might engage to come out and give us a more current evaluation on that. So I'll keep you posted on that.
You know, is John Phillips still
He is.
He's still in business? I know he got hurt while there. Still.
Well, I don't actually know if he's still in business. I know he's still in the area. But in talking with REMA recently, which I think I reported on at a previous meeting, they suggested that we could contact City of Ukiah and talk with them about who they're using for their tree program.
So when you say you're slowing it down, what do you mean exactly?
We had slated to have the trees on the State Street side of the park, every other tree removed over the next 4 months. And keep in mind, the new trees are already being, I'm not sure of the correct term, cultivated over at Sanhedrin Nursery. So we have ordered more trees than what we initially had. Dave has given us some recommendations as to where those new trees should go. But rather than keeping to that 4-month timeline, we've sort of put it on hold until we can connect with somebody, presumably from the City of Ukiah or whomever they're using as their arborist.
Second opinion.
So
Exactly.
right now, you're not slated to take down any other trees?
Correct.
Until you go through that consultation?
Yeah. It was suggested that we might do some core samples. It's not my field of expertise, so we thought we'll talk with somebody that does have that knowledge and see what they recommend. But just like Holly said, getting a second opinion. You know, we have been going off of this report that was prepared for the city some years ago. You know, I can't imagine that a tree that has been designated as dead is not dead any longer. And there were some issues with pruning back in the 60s that they were using concrete to fill in where they were cutting the limbs.
Yeah, that's an old,
Yeah, they used to seal with concrete.
yeah.
What are the trees that we have slated to plant?
There are a variety of trees. I couldn't tell you right now. There's some.
Okay.
If I tried to guess, I'd get it wrong.
And I should say that while I've gotten a lot of community feedback on this issue in particular, pretty much every tree that has been taken down so far, I mean, is hollow and, you know, there's no tree there still. So despite that, you know, I think people want to make sure that they are, you know, that they are irreparably dead, you know, before they get taken down.
Zombie trees.
That it's,
One dead.
that it's a necessity right now, because it was just,
Right.
I'll bring
But
down
so
my.
far, they all have been.
I can bring down my increment bore and bore the sediments.
And there's one last thing. As you can see, we had a somewhat of a makeover in council chambers. Finally got new chairs. We actually ordered them in the last fiscal year and wanted to have chambers painted before we set them up, and so that's what we have tonight. We are also, I've made a internal policy decision that we will not be renting out council chambers any longer. It takes too much of a beating, and we don't want to invest what we have and then turn around and have things not cared for. So, you know, we do have the community center available, and so far I think we've been able to figure out how to accommodate everybody that was looking for space.
So this would be even small community meetings.
Right. I mean, we're still going to be allowing some use in the conference room.
Mhm.
There are a couple of groups that had some rentals, you know, over the next few months.
Okay. All we need is a mural of the Pacific Ocean.
That's a
That's not-
dangerous thing to ask for. You can see where that's led in the past. Is that done for your reports?
Can I ask a quick question on that? And I know I want to
It's
keep
up
it
against
short,
your time
but
limit.
since
You're the one that was begging for.
since the mayor mentioned about seeing the septic station, is there a time when staff would be there if we wanted, you know, like if there was a time when someone would be there I wouldn't mind checking it out. Or the truck fills
Yeah.
station.
Just call Fryman's.
Yeah, right. Follow him around.
Or do a ride along.
Or Pinches.
Or Pinches,
I like,
yeah.
I like, he's a good guy.
Take a choice. Okay, city clerk,
Nothing at this time.
finance, how are things over in the checking department?
Everything's going well. The auditors left last Friday. They've been gone a week. And they were great to work with. They told us, some of the things that some policies that we might want to implement and.
They seemed
different
thorough.
things. They were very thorough. They were very thorough, yes. They went everywhere.
It seemed that way when I talked.
Yeah, and at the next meeting, staff will be bringing back the cost allocation report to discuss that. And staff has requested that the county auditor controller come to one of our council meetings to explain how property taxes
Oh,
are distributed.
that would be great.
So I've put that out, so we'll see how that goes.
Good, I appreciate that.
Did you also want to mention why the warrants are back under consent rather than information reports?
Yeah, that's one of the things, because we have such a small staff and we have 4 signers, 2 are required. Somebody has to approve it, somebody has to turn it in, then somebody has to approve it, and then we have 2 people signing the checks. We have it under consent so that the council is approving these expenses, and therefore it's kind of taking it off of the.
It has to be more active.
Right,
It's
it's another layer of transparency, and if the 3 of us are doing all of it, then there's, too much room for error, and.
So it's not required under government code, as our former finance director had brought to us at one point, but as Susie
Best
said, because there's so
practice.
few of us that are touching it, we just, it needs to be spread out a bit more.
Which probably reinforces the thought that we need to really look these over very carefully.
Staff does look at them,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
should be aware of what's on there, because.
Okay.
If you just look for
Ultimately, you are-
anomalies, you don't
Right.
look at them.
Yeah.
For high dollar amounts.
And, yeah. Let's move to, anything in the legal department?
Just that I've been working with staff on some code enforcement issues.
Right. Chief?
We covered traffic and just kind of segue into school's going to be starting pretty soon. So I know that our public works staff usually does some cleanup around the school areas right before then, but folks should be prepared to slow down now that the kids are going to be.
When does it start, you know?
I believe the
22nd?
I was going to say 21st or 22nd
Wow.
or so. And so,
Before our next meeting.
yeah, it should be. So just so that, mostly for the TV crowd out there, watch for the kids. It's important. And we had a little earthquake. You probably all
Oh, yeah,
felt
felt that
so
last
it's
I didn't feel it.
kind of a
I
good
did.
reminder
I was looking
that we should all be prepared and have some first aid supplies and survival supplies. I mean, in an emergency, you're going to have to be able to take care of yourself. Relying on government to take care of you is probably not the best plan. We should be the umbrella or the safety net, but you should be in a position to take care of yourself. So that's what I got.
Good. Thanks, Jerry. Dusty, anything in planning?
Just real briefly, moving forward with our housing element, looking to have a study session with the council at your September 14th meeting. Our consultants will be up here, will give you an overview of the process. We'll try to get some feedback on any concerns or thoughts you have as far as providing housing for all income groups. Any tools that you'd like to see incorporated into the housing element update. We begin moving forward with our Streets and Alleys project. We have our next public workshop on August 25th. It'll be at 5 o'clock right here at our community center. This is our third opportunity for the public to provide insight into the planning process for this effort. Staff has been working diligently with the consultants along with our community members to come up with a plan to hopefully present to the council at the second meeting in September. And then we also wanted to throw out August 30th as a potential date for Revit Ed to meet. our next scheduled meeting's in October. At our last meeting, we had talked about wanting to meet before then, and August 30th was the date that might work. And that's all I want to share.
Thanks. Building?
Maybe, yeah. Building's moving along pretty well. We still don't have much commercial interest, but we're actually building some momentum with housing. And it's kind of encouraging to see that people are willing to buy a lot and invest in building a house in town now.
That house that's on kind of the corner on North and Laurel, is that an owner builder? Is that a spec or is it a?
Owner builder spec.
It is a spec.
Yeah, it's for sale. And they've purchased the lot on Coast Street, and I'm just finishing a permit for them on Coast Street. That one at the end of West Valley, next to.
The one that's got houses on both sides, just opposite of West Valley?
Yeah.
In the T there, that
Yeah.
vacant lot? Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's been vacant forever.
It's encouraging.
Yeah.
Got some of that. Not much commercial stuff going on, though. I don't have a reason for it either. I can't quite figure out what's going on, but that's fairly silent right now. Then code enforcement, I'm working with Jim to deal with some cases there. It's the season and it's coming on fast. There seems to be less of it this year than there has been in the past. I'm encouraged by that. And then I think I passed something out for you guys to look at and brought it back from FEMA, but a couple of meetings ago you asked me to bring you an estimate for an appeal for the FEMA maps, the revised FEMA maps. And we've got that estimate, and it looks a lot better than I thought it was going to. And I've talked with the hydrologist, and he's pretty confident. He says he already sees some significant issues there, so.
Good.
So what is the timeline for actually doing that work?
Well, I need approval.
Yes, so is it the next, it'll come to us at the next meeting? Is that-
Yeah, we're looking at having it by the end of September. October 6th is or October 4th is the end of the 90-day period, and it looks like we'll be fine with that.
Okay. So,
And he's actually already in process and working with the FEMA representative that presented the revised maps to us in the first place. They're working together.
but he doesn't have a contract yet?
No.
We'll get one, okay.
This is the same hydrologist that worked with Humboldt County successfully in one of their appeals.
All right, thanks, John. We've got nobody really here.
Yeah, but I gave you the information about the
Okay. Public Works and
water and
Engineering.
wastewater.
Go ahead.
No, that's, I already
Oh, yeah,
covered it
all
in my
right.
verbal
Okay.
reports.
Well, let's move along to council and committee reports. MCOG,
MCOG will meet Monday the 15th.
LAFCO,
LAFCO met. Apparently there was nothing significant of note.
all right.
Yeah, I remember it. It was a
MTA,
quick meeting.
MTA, I think canceled their August meeting, if I'm calling, I hope that's right. Yeah, they did. There were too many absences.
MSWA, I don't think,
It's on Monday.
League, anything?
Nothing yet. The next meeting is up in Eureka or Arcata.
Water and wastewater have not met. Revive Ed, you guys meet?
No, but I can do the 30th. It's on my calendar, Kathy.
Okay.
Finance has not met. Caltrans relinquishment ad hoc committee canceled that meeting. It's going to be rescheduled. And EDFC, anything to report there?
There's going to be a kind of a training for new members on this I think it's Monday the 15th. And then on the 17th, we're having a pretty much all-day retreat to strategize for where we're headed and what our priorities are. And it'll be at Campo Vida down in Alpha.
NCRA?
NCRA met today in Novato. They're moving forward with the reuse of parcels on around the new, where the Ukiah Courthouse is going to be. And so a number of people who own property on Mason Street showed up to say, hey, we'd like to still be able to park there. Alpha Labs and Caldwell Banker, and there's a private property owner. So nothing was decided today, but things are heating up down there on the properties.
Okay. Any council member reports or recommendations? Okay. Any good and welfare?
I have some. We had several of us went to the county fair dinner on Thursday. It's very enjoyable. And after, my wife and I wandered through the fair, and we had a nice conversation with one of the Willits 4-H'ers, Claire Chase Brackett. And I learned more about raising cattle and animals and the 4-H program than I ever realized was there. So then on Saturday we came back down to see the auction.
Did you buy a steer?
Well, no, but remembering Holly's experience the last time, I did bid on a steer for her, and she won. But it was interesting to see the prices. Claire's steer sold for $8.50 a pound, and I had no idea what that meant. But apparently, it's a pretty decent price. Yeah, for a 1,200-pound steer.
You can kind of do the math.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't know, if $8.50 is a lot or a little or whatever, but it was one of the highest prices that I witnessed. So it was pretty nice, a Willits gal. So
Was that the grand champion?
No, the grand champion got like 12, I think, 12 a pound.
I have a couple of things. One is that the Museum Advisory Board is planning to meet again, although they're trying to figure out timing, but they're really trying to get the museum open to the public again and doing a lot of troubleshooting around all the mold and stuff that they're working on. But I think that they're shooting for having it open towards the middle of September. And then the other thing I wanted to announce again is that on the 20th, a week from Saturday, is the Well Efficient Living Tour, and it's a great opportunity for people to find out how they can improve the water and energy efficiency, which also saves them money. And there'll be, in addition to examples of all that, there will be information about how to get funding, grants and low-income loans to do that kind of improvement. So if anybody wants one of these, I'll pass them around here. It's starting at 9:30 on Saturday the 20th of August.
I do have one other good and welfare. Thanks for buying me a steer, Ron.
Anytime.
I am sorry. That's the first auction I've missed in a number of years.
I didn't pay for the butchering, so it'll be delivered to your door.
Good and welfare, the art center was painted last week. You guys might have seen it. It's a beautiful paint job. They did really great work. And the art center board is just so thrilled and thankful to the city for partnering on that. I mean, on keeping up their investment, your investment. And it's really neat. And they just had an opening for the Dog Days of Summer, which people should go check out. One of the things that was awfully cool is that Robert Parmiter painted a painting of Dale Dingman with his dog that is being donated to the center. So that was kind of cool. It's worth checking out.
Yeah, I saw that online. I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah.
All right. We do have one closed session item. It is just an annual performance evaluation of the city manager, our sole employee of the city council. So there, I do not, this is do not expect any announcement coming out of that, but you're welcome to stick around. If there is any decision made in closed session, it will be reported out in this room at the close of it. But this is just the beginning of passing and gathering information on the city manager evaluation, so I don't expect there to be anything coming out of that. So we shall recess to closed session. Thanks for our 27-minute meeting.